Right, what up, everybody? It's time for another video. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm a copywriter by day. All right. I work at an ad agency, and that means sometimes I'm on commercial film sets. And I was on a commercial shoot Friday all day. And we were shooting a commercial, three 15-second spots. And I was amazed, as I always am, being on set, the level of production that goes into something like that. We're talking 4 different cinema cameras shooting in 8K. We're talking, gosh, I don't know, 30 to 50 people on set, I want to say. If I was guesstimating between agency team, client, cast, crew, a lot of people packed in there. A lot going on. Very different than how I'm making my film. And I was reminded when I was there on set, how different it is from what I'm doing. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about what it is I'm doing and the gear I'm using and how it still works, Like, what I am shooting with is the GoPro Hero 12 Black. Okay, action camera, wide angle, fixed focus, very small, compact action camera, but capable of very high quality shots. I've been shooting in 5K with this little guy, and you just kind of have to know how to get the most out of it. But this is what I've been using. Got myself a little handheld tripod here. Carry that around. This is called a media mod, which allows me to hook lavalier mics to the GoPro and capture audio in interviews. ND filters, neutral density filters for the GoPro, which allow me to maintain motion blur while shooting at 24 frames per second in varying degrees of light out in the desert. Always good to have an extra pair of socks, This is a Shamog, which is good for high winds, especially if there's sand blowing all over the place where I've been shooting out in the desert. Got a field recorder here. The Tascam DR40X allows me to get environmental sound and field recording. Also serves as a backup for my interviews. Dead cat for the field recorder, put on there to prevent from wind noise. Got some goggles in here, again, for the desert because it gets super windy. And then a toothbrush. Toothbrush is actually used, I've used that a few times to kind of lightly clean sand from delicate areas of the gear. This is a clamp that I used for the GoPro. I put the GoPro on the end and then have clamped it to the car door. Get some cool shots from the driver's point of view that way. A suction cup mount for the GoPro. I put the GoPro on the top here and then suction cup this to the roof of my car or other parts of my car, and then I can get driving footage and really some very cinematic shots with the GoPro that way. So that's just a few pieces of gear that I've been using, and easy way to kind of transport it, keep things light and simple. Okay, the sound design. Here I've got the Zoom MS-70 CDR Plus. That's a pedal which has all kinds of reverbs and various effects. This here is the Bastel Bestie, a very simple stereo mixer. I can run little synthesizers through and mix them, and it's very cool because it's kind of like dirty and has a feedback channel, which is pretty cool. And then this guy, the Rumble of Ancient Times by Soma. Very fun little synthesizer that provides some very bizarre, eerie sounds. And then here, the Pocket Operator PO12. It's a little tiny drum machine that actually creates surprisingly good drum sounds and rhythms. So in this case, I've got like the Rumble of Ancient Times synced with the drum machine, the Pocket Operator, and then I'm running them through the 70 CDR Plus to add reverb and effects to kind of the eerie synthesizer sound. And then I'm running that through the Bestie out to my audio interface and recording in Logic Pro. Of course, you got to think about if you're interviewing or trying to get audio. I've been using these guys, the Rode Go 2 wireless lavs. These are awesome. High quality little lavalier mics that can strap onto your belt or whatever. And then the way I've used them, connecting little clip-on mics to my collar or shirt and the interviewee's collar and shirt and plugging into those little guys that run into a receiver. Also, can't forget a gimbal, okay? It's been like a new fun thing for me to learn. Simple little things like this I used to think were intimidating. It's like, oh, wow, if you're not a cinematographer, you're like, how do you use that? I mean, it's not that crazy, but I was always like, I don't know how to use this thing. It's like flipping and like flopping around, and like, this is more than I know how to use. But really, it just takes a little effort and reading, to figure it out. Imagine that. And this is the Xeon Crane M2S, and it's been amazing. I used it on my last shoot, and it's given me the ability to get really super cinematic shots. It kind of balances and stabilizes the GoPro, and I can move around and kind of do pans and different techniques. Then, of course, gotta have a good tripod. Yeah, I love my tripod. Okay, I'm not gonna take it out of here, but, gotta have a tripod, even for a GoPro. So check it out, just sharing a little bit about my gear and how I go about it and what my learning process is and my own filmmaking process as I go. And it's just about kind of like patching different things together, doing a lot of reading, figuring out how different pieces of gear work, and figuring out how I can use those to bring to life, what I've written on the page and what I see in my head. And it's an awesome process. I'm just kind of building and growing constantly. So if you made it this far, hope you enjoyed seeing what I'm using. And thanks for watching.